decided to do a video vlog. I'm sorry about the noise. It's there's no electricity at the moment, so what you're hearing are the big sounds of generators. So I kicked off the Femme Fatale Readathon by finishing the book I chose for Witchathon, which was The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and that was amazing. I'm considering I might do a brief review, or I might just talk about it in my November wrap-up. I'm not sure yet. I'll decide when that time comes. I finished that, and now I'm on the second book I'm reading for this, which is, as you can see, today is November 11th. I just finished the second book I'm reading for this readathon, and it was quite a read. I know everybody has talked about it. Most people have seen the movie already. I haven't yet. I was waiting. I'm sorry about the noise and all the cars and stuff. Like, my house is really dark, and I had to come outside to film this, and I probably won't really edit it that much. So yes, you can see just how noisy and busy my street is. Why is my house dark? I have no idea. I live in a cave. I know a lot of people have spoken about this. Like I said, I've not seen the movie yet. I was waiting to finish the book. I love this book. I would give it a 5 over 5 stars. It's fucking amazing. It's a story that is needed. You know, I knew Khalil was gonna die. Like, it's there in the blob, it's there all over the web. Like, if you've heard of this book, you know the entire story really starts when her best friend dies, but rather when her best friend is murdered by a white cop during a traffic stop. And it didn't make it any easier. Like, I felt that pit in my stomach because I knew it was coming, and I was hoping that it was not going to happen, but it did happen, and my heart just shattered. Because it's one thing for you to know it's going to happen, it's another thing for you to read it on page and realize just how quickly this entire thing happened. You know, the minute when she remembers her father's voice, you know, him telling her, no sudden movements, keep your hands where they can see them, don't talk back to the cop. And then she says, I hope someone has had that conversation with Khalil too. My heart just started shattering, like breaking in incremental parts, until it just became dust on the floor by the time 115 shoots him. Is it 115 or 114? I can't remember the name of that cop. He shoots him, and Khalil is there. And he did not even just shoot him once, multiple times. A 16-year-old boy. And I love what Angie did with the story, in the sense that it allowed us to have like more of an idea, like, no, rather not have more of an idea, but it allowed us to, you know, humanize, you know, the stories. You know, when people talk, okay, Black Lives Matter, you know, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, Philando Castile, Sandra Bland, when they talk about people that have died, you know, from police brutality, unharmed black people that have died, usually we only get a snippet, and in this she actually went deep and gave us Khalil's total backstory. We saw his family, we saw his friends, we saw that all he was trying to do was survive and provide for his family, and it makes it sink in further that all these people that died, you know, they all have families, they all have loved ones, they all have friends. Not all of them are what the police and the media pointed them out to be, and even if they were, it does not make it right for them to be murdered. So it's just, I think it's beautiful. I loved reading it. I cried my eyes out. It's why I'm look so tired, because I've only gotten like 3 hours of sleep. I finished it last night. I loved it. I loved the fact that we saw Star grow. You know, she went from this girl who was all about not rocking any tables, not making any waves, you know, separating Williamson Star from Garden Heights Star, you know, and then to this woman, this complete outspoken woman who is not afraid to let both her lives collide, and who is not afraid of her voice, and who uses that voice and speaks up against injustice. And I love that. I love when that happens. I love seeing that happen. I love her going through that transformation right before our very eyes. I also love the fact, like, you know, our family being there for her, our friends, God, our friends, Haley, Jesus, your typical white feminist who understands gender bias but cannot wrap her white blonde hair around racial bias. I'm like, of course, I also love the little slices of humor. As you can see, like, I tab my books yellow. Yellows are for, like, for when I find like funny moments. Nana is a hoot. I love our interaction with Maverick. That's Star's dad. You know, I love when Star's dad was all up in Chris's business and everything. Like, I love the fact that he had such deep moments and moments that made me cry. I love the fact that this book made me feel everything. I was sad, I was broken, I was angry, I was laughing, I was contemplative. It was just, I went through the entire gamut of emotions, and I love this book. I love it for it. Thug life, man. The hate you gave little infants, Fox, everyone, and it did, and indeed it did. So now I'm done with the hate you gave. I'm moving on to the next book. I'm reading for this for the Femme Fatale Readathon, and that is The Poppy War by Arif Kwang. Now I've had this book on my TBR list since about I think it's been like a year, like a year and a half. Like I've had it on my list before it even came out, and I got it earlier, like middle this year, and I haven't had the opportunity to read it yet, and I'm looking forward to it. One, it is inspired by real life events. Two, the protagonist is a woman of color. And three, I love the premise. You know, a lot of YA fantasy stories, especially when it has to do with powers, always have this thing of, oh my god, the girl never knew she was powerful, and then when she found out and her powers were discovered, she just like breezed through, or she had some training and that was it. Like, she fought a bit and that was it, and then before you know it, she's like the best or is the best of shit. But our lead character, who is what's the name again? Rin. Yes. But Rin though, Rin worked her butt off, you know, to qualify for the exams. She passed, and then she worked her butt off to be one of the fucking best, and spiraled into I think it's addiction. Yeah, because apparently the god that gives her powers likes a form of sacrifice, and power does not come without a price. So today is November 12th. It's November 12th. I'm currently at the office. I got in early. I have started reading the first chapter of The Poppy War. Do I have any opinions yet? Not really, because I'm still on page 1, but I'm sure I'll love it. When I first got my hair dyed, it was red, and now I have no idea what this color is. I probably would have to touch it up or something. Back to reading The Poppy War. I am so slow, especially during the work week, because I work about 9-hour days, and generally when I get home I'm just so tired. I sometimes read, I sometimes sleep, I sometimes edit YouTube videos, I sometimes watch YouTube videos, and I sometimes play video games. And yeah, present game I'm currently playing will probably be I'm playing a couple at the same time. I'm playing Mass Effect Andromeda, This Is Us, no, The Last of Us, yes, those two. Planning on getting Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, like say December or January, and then yeah, I can add even more games to my list of things I need to. So many things to do, so little time. So far the Rin's foster parents are assholes. charm. This book is looking better by the minute. Clearly, I suck at making video vlogs. Actually, no. Clearly, I suck at making daily video vlogs because I have no idea what today is. I just know that I have not vlogged in a while, and I figured it's about time I get back to it. So I finally finished this lovely gem, R.F. Kuang's The Poppy War. I think I finished it about 2 days ago, and it's been 2 days and I still can't get this book out of my head. It's fucking fantastic. I love it. I love every inch of it. Rin, she's one of the most brilliant female, what am I even saying, female? She's one of the most brilliant anti-heroes I've met, period. And in fact, I think I do not actually agree with that, because some people will say she's an anti-hero. I think I would call her an heroine anyway, because this is war and you have to make decisions during times of war. And if I was in her shoes, I don't know if I wouldn't have made the exact same decision. I guess that's probably the reason why some people react so strongly to the decisions and choices she makes, because they think, oh my god, that's so awful. And all I'm thinking is that it's war. Shit happens in war times. People change. People make decisions that they would not otherwise have made if it was times of peace. But I love this book. I will probably do a fairly in-depth review of it sometime very soon. I'm certain by the time this vlog goes up, this review will be up, so you already know my thoughts. But I love it. I would definitely give it a 5 over 5 star, because it's amazing. It's fantastic. I cannot wait for Dragon Empire. I think it's coming out in either March or May. Definitely an M month. I'm looking forward to the second book. I definitely cannot wait to read it. Next book I'm reading right now is Nnedi Okorafor's Who Fears Death. I just started it. I do not have that much thoughts yet, except for the fact that I'm really looking forward to reading it. And see the pretty design she made on my book when she signed it at Ake in October. So yeah, I'm definitely going to look forward to reading it.
got to finish this book, Who Fears Death by Nadia Okorafor, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. I didn't love it, and I would have, but there were some problems I had with it. So I would say those before I say the parts about it that I really, really loved. And then we'll wrap this off. Okay, so very quickly, what were the things I couldn't stand about the book? The first was the insta love trope. And I know some people will be like, what do you mean by that? Like, oh, by the way, this review will be slightly spoilery, so please, I'm sorry, be warned. Okay, so some people will be like, what do you mean by that? Her and Munta's step is like their relationship. We saw their relationship grow throughout the entire book. So that was definitely not insta love. When I say insta love, I don't mean like the rest of the relationship. I mean how it started, you know. They met when they were kids, and then they met shortly after that, and they had a couple of meetings, most of which happened off the book, like we were just told, we did not experience it. And then next thing we know, Umita is telling her he's angry and is wondering why he loves such a woman, and all I'm thinking is that, what do you mean by love her? Like, you have not met her that many times to love her. What the fuck? So yes, I didn't like the insta love. I also did not like the fact that this is a romance I could not connect with. I just felt distanced from it. It felt slightly, I don't know, it felt like she was telling us about the romance. I couldn't feel it, I couldn't see it. Like, I bought it because I was told that, oh, these people were in love. But I couldn't connect with their relationship. It felt too detached. Like, that was my problem. The way it was written, the way it was portrayed, it felt slightly detached. So yes, it probably also did not help that I could not stand Muta. I felt he was fond of saying some sexy, stupid shit, and every time Onyeso confronted him with the dumbassery, because she's badass like that, she will confront him. He always follows it up with saying like something about how she's acting like a woman, she's emotional. I'm like, boy, shut the fuck up. What the fuck? Did you? So many times he says some stupid, very inconsiderate shit, and you wonder what she sees in him. But like at the end, sure, he slightly redeems himself. That's the thing. He will say stupid shit, it will slightly redeem himself, and then it will say stupid shit again a couple of pages later. And like, had a problem with that because it kept annoying me. So maybe that also contributed to the fact that I did not really like it. I did not really like their relationship, their romance. I understood the need for it. I understood the fact that it was flawed and it was human, but it was also sexist and it was annoying, and I had a problem with that. And the romance plays a critical part of this story, so you would understand why the way it was portrayed and the way he was such a dickhead got to me. Another problem I had with the story was the pacing. You see, the book started from like a quarter in, and then we went back to see what's happening. Like, it's a common style, a lot of writers do it, and I don't even mind the way it started and how it played up. I just had a problem with the way the book was paced. Like, there were some intense moments and then things just kind of died down, and I don't even mind there being periods of like high intensity and then lower parts, so far as it still contributes to character development and it still adds in some way to the plot. But there were some parts that I was confused as to how it was adding to the plot. There were some parts there were some parts that I would not lie, I kind of zoned out in, and I lost myself, and I had to be like, okay, no, you cannot lose interest. And yes, usually what happens for me is the pacing. It was very jagged. I understand that it was probably also influenced by the fact that she was telling a story set during war times. So, of course, during moments of war, you have moments of high action, and you have moments of peace where you're just concerned with the mundane. That's the thing. Like, there were a lot of mundane moments. But you see, this book is 435 pages. I mean, 435, 432 pages. And the main battle we were building up to witness happens in like 15 pages. So yes, just calculate that for over 400 pages she was building up to the battle, and then it ended so fast. That was another thing. It ended so quickly, and the way it was resolved, I guess it just struck me as a bit weird. Just struck me as a bit weird. So yes, I definitely would say that it has a bit of pacing issues, but not so bad that you will not enjoy the story. So now let me go on to the things about the book that I enjoyed. The first is Luyu. I love Luyu. Luyu is bae. She's sexual, she's sensual, she's loyal, she's brave, she's smart-mouthed. You're not going to guilt trip her. She has very big appetites. And she's not ashamed of that, and I love that. I love the fact that she was a girl that when we first met, you would not believe the depth of her and Onyesonwu's friendship. Of all the girls, you would think, you would not know that, you would not even believe that she would be the closest to Onyesonwu, and I loved it. I loved it to the part that I cried at the end. It was. I also loved the lead character Onyesonwu, just because Onyesonwu is angry. I'm guessing you all will probably have figured out the trend right now in the type of books I like. I love my women angry, just because patriarchy is fucked up, and a logical response to that, a logical emotional response to that is anger. It's valid, it's very valid. So when I have my characters kicking against the patriarchy and burning shit to hell, you know, it brings me joy. And you understand why? Because the men in this book were sexist as fuck, sexist and misogynistic as fuck. Like practically every single man you meet. The only exception was Fadil Ogudumu, who is Onyesonwu's father. Every other person, you're like, what the fuck? They say so much shit, and I know it contributes to the fact that Nnedi had so much things to say, which is another reason why the pacing was a bit off, because she was trying to cram in so much things into the book. She was talking about, you know, genocide, about female genital mutilation, and how it is used to both suppress, control, and subjugate the sexual desires of women, about the subjugation of women, about weaponized rape. She was talking about, you know, how religion is used to control and oppress people. Like people use religion as a justification for their actions. So many things. It's a call to not turn your eyes to the atrocities committed against other people, because you do not know when it will come to you. And even if it does not come to you, you should not be complicit by keeping quiet. Like so many brilliant things she says in this book, but she has so many things to say and so little time, and sometimes it just seems like she's just jumping all over the place, and it just, like I said, there was a problem with the pacing. But Onyesonwu is logically angry and pissed as fuck, and I loved that. And she's emotional, and she makes mistakes, but she learns from her mistakes. And it just, this is a woman that allows herself to be flawed, and allows herself to get angry, and uses her anger as a weapon to rewrite history, to change a story, to change the story of the world she's from. And it was beautiful to read, and I enjoyed every moment of it. Another thing I loved about this book was the fact that this is a YA dystopian novel set in Africa. And see, most of the time when you're reading YA dystopian novels, yes, I, like everybody else, I read Hunger Game, I read Divergent, I was a big fan. But the thing about it is that a lot of YA dystopian protagonists are more often than not white. And so you have this black girl whose story is set in Africa. And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful reading that. I loved that. I loved the way she mixed and matched different cultures and languages together. The names, you know, you find names from like different countries in Africa in that book. You find like mentions of places. It was a play, and it was awesome. And I loved the symbolic. She brought in CBD, which is like the Igbo ancient form of writing and magic. Like she wove it into the text. It was beautiful. I love the fact that there's so much symbolism in this book. You know, the Ewu who are ostracized and outcast because, you know, they are born of rape and they are mixed, and then within the Ewu you still have the issue who are powerful magical beings. And I don't know if she did it consciously. She probably did, because Nady does not strike me as somebody who would not take in every bit of what she knows and mix and match it to make a book. But I love the way in which she used Eshu, because Eshu is representative. Like, there's the Yoruba god Eshu, who is the god of crossroads and the trickster god. It can take shape, any shape or form. It's all about making choices that you want to make that is beneficial to you. He's also the messenger god. He's the messenger god. Is the in between. Is the one that relates most out of everybody with mortals. He always has one leg in the physical world and one leg in the spiritual world. And I found it very interesting that she brings that in, and that is technically who the issue are in the story. It's very nice, very interesting. I loved it. I also loved the ending. Oh my god, the ending. I know a lot of people will be like, oh no, the ending was all jokes, machina, what that she copped out. It was a cop out and stuff, because there was one ending and then there was another ending, and I love the other ending. And I'm sorry, people might say, okay, no, it was a cop out. Why did she end it like that? But I don't care, because I loved how she ended it, and I enjoyed every moment of it. So yes, definitely I would rate it 3.5 over 5. It would have been a 4 or even a 4.5, except for that insta love plot. I cannot get over it. It's 3.5. I rounded it up to 4 on my Goodreads, but it would have been higher, but I can't stand insta love. Like, if you're going to make a romantic subplot central to the story, then let me give a damn. And I didn't, which was the reason why I ended up giving it a 3.5, but I rounded it up to 4 on my Goodreads. So yes, if you've read this book, let me know what your thoughts are. Did you enjoy it? What did you think? So today's November 30th. I know I've not recorded in like forever. I've been busy. But yeah, I just finished This Will Be My Undoing by Morgan Jenkins. I read it on audiobook via my Audible account, and I'm not gonna lie, that book was boring as fuck. It was a bore. It took forever. She didn't have a particular story she wanted to tell. Yeah, I know it's a memoir. I didn't find it interesting. I did not connect with it. It read in most places like an academic text. I just didn't like her style of delivery, and then she had some parts where I had some problems. Like, this is I'm sorry about all the banging noise and everything. Like, they're constructing, and I kept waiting for when the noise will reduce. It didn't, so I'm sorry, consider that background noise. Anyway, this is a woman who admitted to training herself to like act white. She was advanced placement classes. She was basically very brilliant, very smart, an amazing black woman, an amazing black girl growing up into a woman. And you felt like she was disconnected from blackness, because growing up, she was trained to see other forms of blackness as being ghetto or too hood. There was this part where she was talking when she was in high school. She resented this bunch of popular black girls because they had the snappy comebacks, they cocked their hips, they moved their heads, they were sassy, and she just felt that, I don't know, she just, childhood her made it seem like, oh, they were uncouth, and it just rubbed me wrong because there was a girl she didn't like, and she had this weird ass fantasy about the girl being like body slammed by police, which I was like, no. um Fantasies, man, she had like weird fantasies, but then again, you could see that she grew, you know because the Morgan we meet at the beginning of the text is not the Morgan we meet at the end of the text. But I guess it was just weird because she kept jumping all over the place, like childhood stories, and she'll be telling us about adulthood, and then she'll go back to herself being a teenager, and then go back to adulthood, and then like she ended the story short. She ended the book with her in uni in Princeton, and it just, I don't know, because this was a book. It was, the title of the book is "This Is My Undoing," existing on the intersection of being black woman and feminist in white America. So I was looking forward to enjoying it, but it was nothing like Eloquent Rage, which was by Brittany Cooper. I loved Eloquent Rage. I love that book. Brittany Cooper is fucking fantastic. Which was also a memoir written by black feminists, and it's just I connected more with that story than I did with This Would Be My Undoing, so much so that I'll probably give This Would Be My Undoing like, say, a 2.5 star. Yes, over 5. And the only reason why she got that extra 0.5, because I was going to give it a 2, was that there were like some parts I enjoyed. I enjoyed a commentary on Michelle Obama. She had this letter to Michelle Obama she wrote somewhere in the 3.5 hour mark, which was brilliant and beautiful. And talked about how Michelle was such the epitome of the perfect black woman that society had to turn her into a caricature because they could not find any flaws in her, and they ridiculed her and everything. It just, there's a part where she says that everybody was like, this was a woman that rallied black women to vote for Hillary, the wife of a man who led to one of the highest mass incarceration rates of black people, and she rallied people, like she rallied black women. And it was interesting because Hillary is the poster child of white feminism, and yet 54% of white women voted for Trump, and 94% of black women voted for Hillary. And she was just talking about the power and influence of Michelle Obama, and how, to be honest, America does not deserve her. Like, it was a beautiful letter. I appreciated the fact where she spoke about a doctor who basically wrote this article about how black girl magic was was a form of dehumanization in a way, because it was painting black women as super women and superheroes, and like taking away our vulnerabilities. And of course there was backlash because the woman did not really understand what black girl magic meant, and people naturally reacted against that. And then the woman wrote a rebuttal, and as Morgan was taking us through the rebuttal, she did point out the fact that the woman had multiple sclerosis, and what she was just trying to explain was that the face of black girl magic is always able-bodied women, black women. We don't see disabled black women in media, singing songs, starring as love interest in movies, running for office. It's just most of them don't, and it's just the percentage of black disabled women that are in the workforce is even lesser than the percentage of white disabled women in the workforce, even though there are more black able-bodied women, physically able-bodied women in the workplace, as opposed to white able-bodied physically able-bodied women, and it was fascinating to read. I also loved there was a part where she did this rising call of "You're not paranoid, you're not alone," that just brought tears to my eyes, because she was speaking such deep truths that you feel seen. So yes, that was the reason why she got the extra 0.5. But I'm not gonna lie, this this book was a 2.5 for me, and it was quite a way to wrap up my readathon for this month, because I finish. I'm sorry I keep comparing it to Brittany Cooper, because I thought I was basically going to get, like, the same similar type, not the same writing style, but they were both black feminists speaking from different perspectives. But Brittany Cooper's Eloquent Rage I finished in 2 days. I sat, and this was like, I think about almost 10-11 hours. Like, I finished it in 2 days because it was that brilliant. And this would be my undoing. I have been reading it for the past 6 weeks, and it is just 6 hours. It was a chore to get through, but it did have some good parts. And it's a 2.5 because he would have easily been a 1.5 or a 2. So yes, that will be all. And yeah, this will be the end of my vlog. Hopefully it's not too short. I'm sorry it's dark. It's nighttime. I'm trying to film this as soon as I can, so I can start editing and get it up as soon as possible. But yeah, that is the end of my readathon. This is the last book I'll be reading in November. I will still be doing a wrap-up, so expect that soon. Until then, bye.